Welcome to the introductory video of a series on motivation in the workplace. I'm Dr. Reg Butterfield, and I have assembled this series of 10 videos for students and others who are new to the study of people and organisations. In this first video of the series, we will explain the following areas. What do we mean by motivation? What is the role of motivation? We'll look at 3 groups of motivational theories. And then what do we mean by the terms of content and process theories? Briefly introduce the early philosophers of motivational theory, and then finally introduce the 8 theories of motivation that we will explore in this series of videos on motivation. Let's get straight into it. What do we mean by motivation in the context of the workplace? All people have different motivations for going to work. The reasons for working are as individual as the person. People work because the workplace provides something that they need from work. What they obtain from their work has an impact on their morale, their motivation, and the quality of their life. There are many descriptions of motivation, and I will just use this short example. Motivation is the process of arousing and sustaining goal-directed behaviour. The cyclist shown here can have a whole range of reasons or motivations to work at this place. We can only assume the motivator. What comes to your mind as the motivator to cycle in such a way? Yes, it could be to win a race. It could also be to test new equipment or to train for an upcoming event. Or it could also be just for fun. The truth is, we do not know by just watching the person. This is important to understand, as we'll see later. Not everybody is motivated by or for the same thing. It's important to remember that motivation is not directly observable. We don't actually observe a motive. Rather, we infer that one exists based on the behaviour we observe, such as the cyclist earlier. Motivation is not the same as satisfaction. Satisfaction is an individual's emotional response to his or her current job condition, while motivation is the driving force to pursue and satisfy one's needs. Without getting into deep psychological debate, it is true to say that motivation is not always a conscious process. Psychologists have proposed different theories to explain motivation. These include our inborn instincts, drives, and needs. For example, drive theory suggests that people have basic biological drives and that your behaviours are motivated by the need to fulfill these drives. We also have arousal levels that lead us to engage in relaxation by undertaking something such as reading, or we have some thrill-seeking behaviours, such as mountaineering. Motivation is not directly controllable. We need to attribute the degree of success in some way, and the complexity is beyond the scope of this series of foundational videos. If you wish to explore this in more detail, I suggest that you start with attribution theory for more information. Another way of describing motivation is what causes people to behave as they do. In order to be successful, all organisations need motivated employees. This is particularly the case today when organisations have to be very agile with flexible and fast responses to customer needs. Equally, motivation is critical to our own personal success. Whether we give 25, 75% or more of our energy and skill will to a large extent impact on what we can achieve personally in terms of career and life generally. Because of the complexity of motivation, there is no ready-made solution or single answer to what motivates people to work well. This also means that there is not just one single accepted measure of motivation. However, there are some areas of consensus. Motivated behaviour is goal-directed behaviour, and motivation is limited and directed by situations and environments in which people find themselves. These will become much clearer and more relevant as we move through the various theories of motivation in the later videos. Let us look at the role of motivation at its very basic level. We have already stated that it is a driving force for people to achieve goals, and at the same time it assists to fulfill some need or uphold values. Taking a basic need, that is to obtain food, we know that one of society's values is that money can buy food. Therefore, a goal is to obtain money in order to buy food. We can obtain money by going to work and receiving an income for that work activity. This needs, values, goals, and action linear approach is a very basic model of motivation. The logic being, we go to work to receive money, which enables us to buy the food that we need. In our subsequent videos, we will look at this through a series of different theorists and their models of motivation, which are often more complex than our basic model shown here. Motivational theories are grouped in research terms within one of three groups. Internal or intrinsic motivation is seen when a person undertakes an activity for its own sake without any sort of external reward, such as a hobby or to improve one's self-actualization. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is an example of this and is discussed in video 5 of this series. Process motivation emphasizes the nature and the relationship between the person and their environment. Vroom's expectancy theory of motivation is an example of this and is discussed in video 3. External or extrinsic motivation is evident when somebody behaves in a particular way for reasons external to or outside of the person, such as money or coercion. Hertzberg's two-factor theory is an example of this and is explained in video 9. When reading about the various motivation theories in practice, as opposed to the three research groups we have just visited, they can normally be found within two groups, content and process. Content theories and models attempt to explain those specific things which actually motivate the individual at work. These theories are concerned with identifying people's needs and their relative strengths, and the goals that they pursue in order to satisfy these needs. Content theories place emphasis on the nature of needs and what motivates. Process theories and models attempt to identify the relationship among the dynamic variables which make up motivation. These theories are more concerned with how behavior is initiated, directed, and sustained. Process theories place emphasis on the actual process of motivation. In this series of videos, we will explain 8 theories of motivation within their theorists' grouping. Content theorists are Maslow, Alderfer, Hertzberg, McClelland, and McGregor. The process theorists are Vroom, Adams, and Locke. We've known for a long time that people don't behave rationally and that motivation is primarily an emotional business, and at its root is not economic exchange, but human dignity. This means that understanding the roots of individual motivation is important for helping to foster people's happiness and business success. Early philosophers understood this individual importance, and the following people are examples of those whose work still has a significant impact today. Maximilian Weber was a German sociologist and political economist, best known for his thesis of the Protestant ethic, relating Protestantism to capitalism, and for his ideas on bureaucracy. He believed in the structure of organizations being the key to harnessing the effort and efficiency of people at work. Sigmund Freud was an Austrian neurologist and founder of psychoanalysis. As well as developing a wealth of theories, he delved into the unconscious mind to better understand a person's motives and needs. He believed that unconscious psychological forces, such as desires and emotions, shape an individual's behaviour. Adam Smith was a Scottish economist, philosopher and author. Some of his notable works include Enlightened Self-Interest, that which is in the best interest and benefit to the individual and to the other people. He is the person behind the idea of division of labour. With the right policies in place, change can happen fast. Frederick Taylor was an American mechanical engineer who sought to improve industrial efficiency. Scientific management is a theory of management that analyses and synthesises workflows. Its main objective is improving economic efficiency, especially labour productivity. It was one of the earliest attempts to apply science to the engineering of processes and to management. His approach to controlling the way that people work is evident today in just about all of the technology used by society and business. Minimal effort and maximum output through efficiency of labour. A quick overview of the development of motivation theory and its application in the workplace looks something like this. Understanding the motivation of people at work rightly starts with the scientific approach to work undertaken by F.W. Taylor. Another major milestone was the now infamous Hawthorne experiments. The Hawthorne effect refers to the fact that people will modify their behaviour simply because they are being observed. The effect gets its name from one of the most famous industrial history experiments that took place at Western Electric's factory in the Hawthorne suburb of Chicago in the late 1920s and early 1930s. This was followed by a wide range of many competing theories on the nature of work motivation. And as we mentioned earlier, these competing or complementing theories are grouped into content theories, where the emphasis is on what motivates individuals, and process theories that place emphasis on the actual processes of motivation. So far in this introduction to motivation video, we have briefly described motivation, described the two main roles of motivation, introduced the idea of three groups of motivational theories: internal, process, and external, introduced and distinguished between the two main groupings of motivation theory, content and process theories, and finally introduced some of the early philosophers who had an impact on the understanding of motivation. This video series continues with 8 separate videos of motivation. Each one is explained in some detail, and in the last video we discussed their application generally within the work contexts. The theories that we are covering in this series consist of 3 process theories: Adam's equity theory, Vroom's expectancy theory, and Locke's goal-setting theory. It then continues with 5 content theories: Maslow's hierarchy of needs theory, McGregor's theory X and theory Y, Alderfer's ERG theory, McClelland's need theory, and Hertzberg's two-factor theory. In video 2, we start the process theories with the explanation of Vroom's expectancy theory. The other 2 process theories are explained in videos 3 and 4. I suggest that you now move on to video 2, which also includes a more detailed explanation of what process theory actually means.